I've done over 150,000 cold calls in my life. Okay. I didn't get really good till I'd done 10,000. So do a lot and you'll get really good. How do you build a team and train them effectively whilst still keeping overall profit high? What are the main things you make sure to cover in your listing presentation? What's the most important as an associate who has stepped out of a team on their own? What can first-year associates do more of that will progress them to become comms agents? Really good question, Aaron. Sounds like you're an associate yourself. I'm going to answer a good handful of the questions that were given. Agents, welcome to the Get Keen podcast, your number one destination for learning how to get the most out of your real estate career. I'm Dan Lee, founder of Plum Property, one of Queensland's largest independent real estate offices, and Plum Partners, where we've helped dozens of agents create, run, and grow their very own agencies. On Get Keen, I chat to high-performing agents, principals, and agency owners, so you have the tools, strategies, and insights to grow your business and live the best life for yourself and your family. Now let's get keen. All right, Get Keen team. Thank you for joining me. Today we've got some great questions from the audience. I put on my Instagram a post, ask a question that you would like answered on the Get Keen podcast. And I am absolutely overwhelmed with the response of all of the great people who asked questions. There were so many. So today I'm going to answer a good handful of the questions that were given. Thank you to everyone that submitted one. And if I don't answer your question in this particular episode, please don't let it dissuade you from not asking your question next time I do this, because this is probably going to be a regular occurrence now that I can see that so many people do have great questions. And the quality of the questions that came through from everyone were awesome. So it was really hard for me to pick what to answer. But again, if you see me ask on my Instagram, what would you like to know, or ask a question for me to answer, and I didn't answer you this time, leave it next time or ask another question. It's nothing personal, and I do really appreciate you making the effort to ask those questions. Okay, the first question I got on Instagram is, how do you build a team and train them effectively whilst still keeping overall profit high? And that was from Kurt. Really good question. So firstly, I think there's two parts to that question. How do you build a team? Well, firstly, number one, you've got to become extremely good yourself. You've got to become a master prospector. You have to be able to get your first couple of listings and probably get to between 20 and 30 deals per year, because that will give you enough income after you get your commission, split it with the agency, pay some marketing costs, pay yourself a good salary, and now you've got some extra money to invest in your team. And that's somewhere between 20 or 30 deals where you'll be at capacity. All right. Your second part of the question is, how do you put them on whilst keeping overall profit high? Well, you should get someone that's going to help you bring in more business. Okay. There's many ways to build a team, but my particular opinion is that you should start with someone that's going to help you double the amount of prospecting and help you do some admin. Because in the beginning, you start doing prospecting, you get listings, and then you get bogged down with admin. You put someone on that's going to help you continue to prospect, because that's what brings in the opportunities. Now, putting that person on, if you do it correctly, you train them well and they're a hard worker, it should almost double your business in 12 to 18 months. So if you double your business, you double your income, that's going to keep profit high. Okay, pretty simple. Number two, is door knocking actually a thing in the digital age? That question came from Sud, S-U-D. Look, the answer is yes. It is still unbelievably important and very, very relevant. Forget all this, everything's done digitally and all the leads come through social media and the social media is digital letterbox dropping. Look, to be honest, if you dropped all of that FUD, all that digital, and you just stuck to the fundamental old school, you'd do better. All right. If all you did was door knock and phone call and actually create relationships doing those things, you would do better than someone that goes out there and does none of those things and just does the digital. So just does social media and is always on social media and always running Facebook ads and trying to get leads through Facebook ads and Instagram ads. In my opinion, you do the traditional stuff like door knocking, cold calls, cold front end marketing. you're going to do better than the person who's just doing digital. But in this day and age, it's a combination of both, but start with the fundamental, add more digital in later, okay? Question number 3. This is from Reese. What dialogue do you use when you're calling open home lists from 2 to 3 years ago? Really good question, and something that you would normally do when you're a new agent and you're just looking to make 50 to 100 connects, build a database. The dialogue that you would use calling open home lists from 2 to 3 years ago is, let's say you're calling a guy called Michael. You'd call him up and you'd say, "Oh, g'day, is this Michael?" "Yes, it is." "Michael, it's Daniel here calling from Plum Property. I'm just giving you a really quick call because you came through an open home at such address about 1.5, 2 years ago. Do you remember that?" Ask them a question, gets them to start the conversation. They say, "Oh, yes, maybe. Yes, I think I remember that one." "Oh, awesome. Okay. I just wanted to let you know we've got some very similar homes coming on the market soon. Are you still looking for a home or another investment?" This question alone will get them to open up. Yes, no. If they say, "No, I'm not. I've already bought. Thank you." You can then say, "Oh, congratulations. That's awesome. I'm so happy for you. Did you buy in the same suburb?" If they say yes, great. We've got an opportunity to now make a further connection with this owner of a property and ask permission to send them some information. "Oh, you did? Fantastic. Oh, well, we actually have our latest quarterly market report for that suburb," whatever they say. "Can I possibly send that to you via email so you can check out where the market's at in your area and how your house compares?" So it's just about finding something of value you can then share with them, and then perhaps you get all of their details, and then you could even ask them for an appraisal of the property that they now have. If it's a yes, fantastic. If it's a no, no worries. Well, I'd love to stay in touch with you and enjoy this information I've sent. And there you go. You've just created a tiny little relationship. Now go do this with 200 people, would you? Question number 4. What's the most important as an associate who has stepped out of a team on their own? I think the question is, what's the most important thing to know as an associate who stepped out of a team on their own? Look, I think the most important thing is that, number 1, you work for someone who is actually successful, okay? If you're an associate on some agent who sells 10 deals a year and they go home at 2 o'clock every day and sometimes they don't even show up, then you're not learning enough. You will go out and you'll have habits of that agent, and that's what you'll be looking at. So number 1, you need to work with someone who is a very high performer, who is successful, who has been in the game for a while. Well, not even necessarily a while. It could be just a couple of years and they're already killing it. But it's someone who is hardworking, great energy, a good person and does the right thing, and can teach you how to prospect really well. And before you go out on your own, you have to learn the art of prospecting really well and being able to see the results of that prospecting actually come in as business. So being on a team for long enough that you've seen, oh my goodness, those calls that I made a year ago about that property we sold, we got an appraisal back from those calls. And now we've just listed that property from my calls that I did a year ago. And you start to see more and more of these sorts of opportunities come into the team that are basically listings that you were responsible for bringing on because it was your opportunity. You introduced the person to the team, then the team or yourself, you kept in touch, and then the opportunity came. So once you've seen a dozen of those things come in and your team's listed them and you sold them, you now understand the process, number 1. Okay. And now you understand, okay, when I go out on my own, I see it. I get it now. That's how you get listings. You look after people for a long period of time and you do these sorts of things consistently, and eventually they come back to you. So when you go out on your own, it's not just a shock that people aren't listing their property with you straight away, because it takes time. It takes time to build a relationship, maintain a relationship, and then build up enough rapport and enough of a relationship and provided enough favors and information to that person to then finally want to call you back. So once you understand that and you're out on your own, you'll be very comfortable with the fact that it's about building the pipeline and creating this machine of information and touch points. Okay? That's the most important thing. Number 5. This is from Kayunan. I hope I pronounced that correctly. but what are your thoughts on a core patch of 1,000 homes? That is a great question. And it's a reason why I put it in here, because I'm very passionate about this. It's super important, okay? Especially when you start in real estate. Well, forever it's important to have a core patch, but when you start, it's really important not to have too big of a patch, okay? A big mistake a lot of agents make is they come in real estate and then they ask, well, what are your goals? Oh, I want to be number one in this suburb and this suburb and this suburb. You say, well, what patch are you working? I'm working these 5 suburbs. It's absolutely ridiculous. They're never going to be the master of anything. It's way too big. To be able to be number one in multiple patches, you need a huge team to do that. You got to start small. Right? And that is a really great question. A core patch of 1,000 homes is probably ideal. That's the ideal amount of properties that you can actually service really well. Could take that out to really 2 to 2,500 homes. If they're bigger, more expensive properties, a smaller patch. If there's a lot more units and lower price homes and it's really more of a volume business, then 2,500 homes is probably the maximum you want to start from scratch, okay? Because those 2,500 homes, these are the activities you need to do with them. Call every single one of them. If you can't get a hold of the owner by calling, door knock the rest of them. Just doing that alone is a huge job. What are you trying to get off all those people when you door knock and you cold call them? You're trying to get permission to give them some information that may be valuable to them and permission to stay in touch about the market over time. And then you're building your database, and then you need to consistently get information to all those people. Listings and sales, letterbox drops. Just to walk that patch is probably 8 hours a week. Right? That's a whole day. In the beginning, you're doing that yourself. You don't have money to pay someone to do it. You're walking the streets in the beginning. You think you're going to look after 10,000 homes. How are you going to drop flyers to 10,000 homes on your own? That's all you'll be doing. So, keep it small. You need to learn the streets. All right? You have to know every street in your suburb, in your patch. So if you have 5 suburbs, that's going to take years to learn them all. And I'm talking about you need to know how many houses or properties on each street, where exactly. If someone named a street in your area, you would know exactly where it is and how to get there. You need to know all the streets, all the names, how to spell them, what types of properties are on each street, what are the more expensive streets and the less expensive streets, everything about your patch. So become the master, keep it small. As you grow your team and you become like a master in an area, once you have market share, and that's just a word, market share. It can be any amount, but significant market share in real estate is 20% or more, right? You get 20%, you got good market share. You got a good chunk of the market. Anything over 30, you're doing really well. 40 or 50 is where the top agents sit. And I know agents who are up to 70% market share. Very, very difficult to get to that, and many years. Number 6 from Marina. Thank you for your question. Marina says, this is controversial. Should agents be working with a mortgage broker for buyer management? I see lots of agents try to even have their own broker who leaves soon after. I don't know how controversial this is. I think it's totally fine. If you want to work with a mortgage broker for a buyer, that's a good thing. If the mortgage broker is a great broker, right? If you're going to do that, partner up with a great broker. It can help you as an agent. Whenever you talk to a buyer, you can ask, have you already got your finance sorted? Even if they say yes, you can ask, oh, who's sorting it out for you? Is it just your local bank or are you using a broker? If they say, oh, my local bank, a great thing to say to them is, oh, you should definitely see a broker. You see, a broker can either get you the loan from your bank, but what they'll also do is they'll look at every other offer that every other bank and institution has for you right now, and they'll find the best deal based on your situation. You don't even know it without speaking to a broker, but they could save you thousands of dollars on your mortgage repayments. Why don't you just have a 15-minute consultation? Now, if you get your broker in touch with that buyer, which they do many times, you can not only get a referral fee, which is really good, and there's nothing wrong with getting a referral fee. You're referring a great person to help this buyer to create something better for them. As long as it's disclosed and the buyer knows about it, it's totally legit. And Not only that, you're doing a great service to the buyer, so you get a referral fee, you help the buyer even better than they were getting helped. And thirdly, the mortgage broker can actually keep you in touch with how that buyer is going on the sale. So if things are looking a bit iffy, the mortgage broker can say, mate, you need to get inspections going again. It might not happen with this particular buyer, so they can keep you in touch with the deal. So yeah, that's very common in real estate. I think it's a great way to build another referral partnership with a broker and help each other out and help your clients at the same time, which is the number one thing that you should be looking at. Hey guys, just quickly, if you're loving this content and you're a real estate agent that's already thinking what it might be like to have your own real estate business and brand, then check out the show notes. There'll be a link to our Plum Partners website where you can leave an inquiry and me or one of my team members will reach out. We help agents to create, run, and grow their own real estate business and brand so they can earn more and set up a better future for themselves. So get keen, get in touch. Now let's get back to the episode. Number 7 from Jono. What are the main things you make sure to cover in your listing presentation? And some tips. Good question, Jono. The main things you should cover, first of all, before you cover anything, you should learn how to build rapport and learn how to quickly, not just a business relationship, but kind of friendship with your client. How you do that is asking questions about them, their family, their life, what they like doing, walking around the house and asking them questions about what they love about the home and why they chose it and talking about holidays and things like that. Just everyday things to sort of build this genuine, just person-to-person connection. That will really start your business relationship off even better and it'll open the client up, right? And then during your listing presentation, you must cover usually a conversation about prices in the area. But number 2, more importantly, you need to present to them your difference and how and why you are going to achieve this client a way better result than anyone else in the market. Okay, so your points of difference, what are you going to do better than other potential agents that they may be talking to? What are you going to do better to ensure that they get higher price, it's going to sell quicker, all of the things that make a better sale? How are you going to build competition? So that could be with your price strategy. Is it going to auction or is it an offers over strategy? How are you going to get more people to look at the property and get engaged with you about the property? So there's a number of different things that you can talk about. I'm not going to go into all of them because that would be an episode in itself. But in fact, that gives me inspiration for my next episode. I'm going to do an episode on all the main things that you should cover in your listing presentation just based on this question. So thank you, Jono. At the end of the presentation, basically the person sitting across from you needs to think in their mind, this agent is going to get me more money and sell the property better than anyone else. Okay, so that's what you need to cover. Some extra tips: be energetic, be on time. Don't be late. If you are going to be late, always send a text letting them know that you're going to be late. Don't just show up late without them knowing. It can be a strikeout right from the start. And dress really well. This is so important for new people. You might see someone in your office who dresses down. They just wear, standard polo and, jeans and things like that. And they get heaps of listings, right? But they've been doing it for years. They've got the reputation, they've got the market presence, they've got the profile, that they are at a stage where they may not have to be as careful and they're allowed to be a bit more of themselves and what they want to do because they've already earned it. If you haven't earned it, the best thing to do is just look professional, okay? Wear the suit and tie, have clean shoes and ironed shirts. Just look the part. It will help you. Trust me, it'll help you. It's one thing I did when I was first getting into it. I looked so young. Oh my God. I looked like I'd just come out of high school when I was going to listing presentations. And it was hard because I was up against really experienced 30, 40, 50-year-olds and I looked like a kid. So I made sure I dressed really well and it helped me out so much because my energy was high. I knew what I was saying. I had all my scripts and dialogues down pat because I practiced them and I listened to tapes and education and how to do listing presentation with all the old school agents, lots of John McGrath and Lee Woodward and things like that on those old Tret CDs. I'd listen to them in my car, and I'd just get so good at all the scripts and dialogues and what to say about commission and what to say about holding my fee and what to say about how to price a home, what to say to an owner that wanted a really high price. You knew that they wanted way too much, like what to say during the listing presentation to help them put their property at the right price, all the stuff. That's probably my biggest tip, actually, for a new person is just when you're driving to work, right? Just listen to podcasts and training videos about scripts and dialogues, all the scripts and dialogues that you can find, okay? That is just awesome training. And you can just do it in your car, driving to work, driving around, doing letterbox shops. Just listen to the pros. That's all I did. That was my training. I did more of that than anything. It's the same stuff today. Just great conversation about all the questions in the listing presentation. You have to know that. That actually made me really good. Like just doing that, just listening to all that stuff. Number 8, Aaron. What can first-year associates do more of that will progress them to become comms agents? Really good question, Aaron. Sounds like you're an associate yourself and you want to get out there and become an agent. That is the next step for you, my friend. And I think the first thing associates could do would be to show your principal, your agent that you're working for, your seniors, show them that you can hit your goals. So whatever your goals are, and there should be like as an associate, you should have weekly a number of calls that you make that you stick to every single week. Calls or connects, all right? I like to focus on connects because a call's nothing. If they don't pick up or you get an answering machine, that's not worth anything. It's only worth something if you talk to someone. You should be having, at an absolute minimum as an associate, 40 conversations a day with buyers, potential sellers, cold calls, whatever it is, a minimum of 40. Now, I have associates in my office that have 100+ conversations a day, and they are getting bloody good results, let me tell you. And it's not just because they're whizzes on the phone. Some of them are better than others, but they all get results when they do the numbers, right? So you need to have and work it out, whatever you can do based on the other tasks that you have to do as well. Work it out with your principal and your agent and say, how many calls do I need to make a day? And you come to an agreement and then you work it out and say, yes, I can do that amount a day. And you can even say to your seniors, if I hit this amount of calls every day for a whole month, and then I do that again for 6 months, what's my next step going to be towards being an agent? Ask them, put the ball in their court to tell you what to do, and then do it and show them that you can do it. The progression of you becoming an agent isn't just based on you. It's based on those people above saying, this guy or girl is ready. Because they have to take a risk as the business owner to put you out on your own and then possibly have to pay you a salary on debit credit. And if you fail, it costs the business as well. All right, so they have to know that you're ready to do that and say, yep, business is willing to take a risk on this person because they've showed work ethic. They can show that they make their calls. They've been able to bring a certain amount of opportunities in. Prove it, then get promoted. Okay? Number 9. This is from Callan. Is there any different strategies from selling a $700K home versus a $2 million home? Regional areas. This does vary from property to property and from market to market. So I guess the answer is you have to know your market. In essence, most of the strategies are still the same with any property. We take photos, we put it online, we invite people through, we show people, we gather interest, we try to build competition, or at least just find a buyer if there's not multiple, negotiate contracts and sell them. So essentially that's the same. But in different markets, for example, in markets where there aren't many buyers, you're more searching for buyers and hanging on to great buyers. And then you're taking those buyers around to multiple homes to see which one they want to buy. That's the kind of thing you do regionally or in small towns or with farms and stuff, you really find out, because there's not many buyers, but the buyers that there are serious. So you get the buyers and you find out what they want, you show them more, and you get them into one. In city and condensed areas, it's more get it online, contact all the buyers in mass audiences with texts and lots of calls, and get them all to the place. There's going to be lots of attention, and then sell it from there. So those are the main two differences. Number 10, Blake. Best way to talk with vendors about their home long-term on market with another agent. Okay, so when a property has been on the market with another agent for a long time, and you're obviously calling because you want to try and get the listing. And that's a great thing to do after about 8 weeks on market, because most agency agreements are 90 days, so that's 3 months. So between 6 and 8 weeks, you should start calling, if you don't have a listing, start calling properties that are on the market with other agents. And the best conversation to have with them is, hey, my name's Daniel. I'm a real estate agent at Plum Property. I won't be long, and I really appreciate your time. If I could just have a minute, I just wanted to talk to you about your home at whatever street. I monitor the market. I sell a lot of homes in the area. I know you're working with an agent, so I'm not trying to step on any toes right now, but I just wanted to see how your listing is going. We're having a lot of success with our sales. I see yours is still on the market. Have you had any offers on it yet? Are you about to sell it? Is it sold, by the way? And see if they're willing to talk to you. Okay? Now, some may shut you down straight away, and they'll go, yes, I'm fine, thank you. My agent's taking care of it. And you're like, okay, yeah, I understand that. I just wanted to give you another option or try and help you if we had a buyer. And they might just say, no, I'm good. If you want to talk about it, call my agent, blah, blah, blah. Those ones are really hard, okay? And probably you're going to get 30% of them. But some will talk to you. Some will be really keen to talk to you. Now, don't go in for the kill straight away, because usually it's 3 or 4 phone calls later where you'll finally get a chance to take that listing off the other agent. But be a bit soft in the beginning. Make sure you're building rapport and building a bit of trust. A lot of the times when you're coming in later and they've dealt with an agent for 2 months and they're not sold, they don't like the agent now. Their house isn't sold. They don't like the agent. They think the agent's doesn't believe in their property or whatever. The truth is they're probably overpriced, but you can't just come in and expect this person to really like you or really like agents. So it's a soft approach, and then build some trust. 3 to 4 conversations later, you could be listing that house. Okay. Number 11, Cody. How do you ensure that each client feels like a priority, especially when you're in high demand? Wow. Yes, I guess in the beginning, you don't have to worry about it. If you've got a couple of clients, you're giving them heaps, right? And you don't really need to tell them you're going to be in touch this much and whatever, because you've got heaps of time and you're really giving all your clients great service. As your question is specific about when you're in high demand, okay, it really changes when you've got a team, you've got 20, 30 listings, yes, this gets hard. So what you need to do is you need to set the expectations from the beginning in the listing presentation. Now, this is down the track when you're super busy. You would be in a listing presentation and you're getting close to getting the business, or you've secured the business, and then you basically lay down the rules or the codes of conduct of how you do business. And you say, I'm so happy that I've got the business. This is going to be a great experience. Now, let me tell you what's going to happen from here. This is how our team works, okay? These are my responsibilities. I do this, this, and this. My team does this, this, and this, okay? This is how often I'm going to contact you, okay? Very important, because not having enough contact is the number one reason for client dissatisfaction, okay? But a lot of the time, they just didn't know what to expect. Set the expectations. Okay, what's going to happen from here is every Saturday after an open home, you're going to get a call from me. Every Tuesday afternoon, you're going to get a call from me. In between that, you're going to hear from me when there's something really important, but I do a lot of text. Do you like texting? Is that okay? Find out what they want. Do you like text or call? If they like call, you call. But you don't overpromise and underdeliver. Set the expectations of how much you're going to actually be in contact, okay? And then just stick to that. But just make it enough that you can handle, okay? Number 12, last question. I'll have to wrap this up because this is going too long. Thank you for sticking with me this long. But the best cold call prospecting advice from the king of cold calls would be unreal. I love that from you, Blake. I love being considered the king of cold calls. That is self-proclaimed, but I believe it's true. And I'm sure you'll believe it when you see me do them at some point. But the best cold call prospecting advice would be follow a structure, okay? I'll give you a few. Follow a structure, be very good at your opening line and being uncomfortable and starting a conversation. Have a reason for your call, and the easiest reason is there's something that's just listed or just sold in the street. It's the best reason for a call. You're giving them information about that listing or that sale and starting a conversation from there. Number 3, find an opening to steer the conversation into a conversation about something else. What I mean is find any other way that you can actually just start talking to that person about anything just to open them up, because then if they get chatting to you, they're going to listen to your offer and they're going to be more receptive to your offer. Your offer is to offer them now some further information about their property or something else of value you can give them so that they want to stay in touch with you and may be a potential opportunity down the track. Okay? From there, it really is just knowing, just practice. Lots of practice. I've counted. I actually have evidence. I have a stack of paper. I've done over 150,000 cold calls in my life. Okay, I didn't get really good till I'd done 10,000. So do a lot and you'll get really good. Guys, those are my questions for today. I got to wrap it up. Thank you so much. There were some really great questions. I really enjoyed that, actually. That was a bit different for me. Usually I think of a topic that I think people would love to hear about, but actually getting the questions from the audience, that was really nice and that was really fun. And some of those questions were really awesome. And I think that they're going to relate to heaps of the people listening to this. So thank you again. And I look forward to doing another one like that. I hope you got some great tips on this episode. I thank you for tuning in. I appreciate a comment on Spotify if you can, if you're listening on it there, a comment and a like if you're watching on YouTube, all of that. Although it's such a small thing you can do, it does help me and just make it all that little bit more worthwhile to provide you with this free, great content. Thank you again, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you for tuning into the Get Keen podcast. If today's episode inspired you, please show your support with a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And make sure you subscribe on your favorite platform too. Don't stop there. Join our community of forward thinkers by connecting with me on social media at Dan_Lee_Plum. I'm looking forward to exploring more strategies and insights with you on your journey to the top. Until next time, keep getting keen.